It's Moodle time.
Okay, welcome back to Moodle time. I'm gonna show you how to go from a Word document test like this that has multiple choice and true and false and matching and short answers, that kind of thing, and how to go and bring all your questions into Moodle. And the good news is that multiple choice and true and false are actually relatively easy, and the rest are not so easy but are doable. So that's what I'm going to show you today. So let's go back here. I'll just go back to the home here. So previously I guess I was in Science 9, wasn't I? I went to Science 90, and I went to the gear here. I went to more, and I went to the question bank section, and I actually added a few categories here. So motion, pretest, review, and all that kind of thing. So the first thing you want to do is actually go to one of the, let's say I'm creating a question bank for the motion pretest. You can actually just click on it here, and you can now start creating questions. But first we're going to try to import as much as we can, and then we'll go through the steps of creating questions individually, which is a little more time consuming. So first thing is to see how much we can import. Now if you click on import, you'll notice that there's a bunch of different file formats that we can import. And then this one here that says general, that's an important one. It's always collapsed, but if you open it, you can actually see where you're importing. Now, we happen to be on the pretest, so it's all good. But let's say you were like, oh no, I actually wanted to put it for the unit test. You could switch it here. Okay, so that's a nice thing to note. We're going to keep on the pretest. These ones here are actually getting the category from the file or getting the context from file. You could also do that. That's a much more complicated thing. So for now, I'm just going to uncheck that. Although actually I could keep it checked if I'm using the Aiken format, which we will be using. And then the matches grade. Don't worry about these ones either. And stop on error. Yeah, you would want to stop. So I think that's stop the import. Yeah, if there's an error, then it's going to stop all your imports, which is, I think, a good thing, because you don't want to think that you imported things properly and you actually have it all messed up. All right, so and then here's the actual file that you're going to drop on and then import. So now the question is, what kind of file format? And I've looked through most of these here, and none of these file formats are just inherently familiar to me. The one that seems like the most powerful is actually the Moodle XLM, and actually for all these you can click on it. It says this is a Moodle specific format for importing and exporting questions, and then if you click on more help, you can see oh, let me move this around. It's saying that changes won't be saved, which is it's fine for me. I hope it's fine. Okay, you can see there's a description from the Moodle website that says what kind of format this is, and it's used for quizzes here. And it actually gives you, well, it gives you an outline of all the things it's going to talk about, but it actually gives you examples of how the structure should be. And here, I think it's down here. Yeah, here, if you want to do multiple choice, this is the kind of format you'd have to create for your multiple choice. So it's quite powerful, but it's also quite, no one wants to do this. No one wants to put their stuff into this format just to import it into Moodle. Now, if you had a computer program that could take it from your current formatting into XML format, great, that would be amazing, and you could save a lot of time. True and false you can see is there, short answer is there, numerical responses like that, matching, essay. So you can see that it's fairly powerful. Hopefully you can see that. Here, and you can look through all the other ones. I've taken a look through them. I haven't seen any that I'm like, oh wow, this is the answer. This is the one that seems the most simple. And it actually says that this is a simple format for importing multiple choice questions from a text file. So it's good for multiple choice. It also is good for true and false, because true and false essentially is a two answer multiple choice, so it's also good for that. If you click on more help for this, you can see what kind of format it needs to be. And you can see that this kind of format or this kind of format is much closer to the kind of formats that I use anyway, and you probably use as well. So that's good news. The one thing to keep in mind that it has to be converted into a text format file, and I'll show you how to do that with a Word document. And also non-ASCII characters like quotation marks and that kind of thing, and dashes, things like that, can cause errors, import errors. And so now most of my questions don't have those kind of characters, and so it hasn't been a problem. But to avoid it, we go to the UTF-8 format, and I'll show you how to do that. And then the other thing is you have the letters, you need to capitalize letters A, B, and C, and D. And you can have either a period after them or brackets. Okay, and I've seen in a few different videos, Moodles, where they say, oh, for true and false you do the brackets and the periods for multiple choice. As far as I can tell, that's a bunch of garbage. You can use either, and you're not making true and false questions here, you're making multiple choice questions. If they happen to be true and false, they have two answers. They'll behave like a true and false question, but ultimately they're multiple choice. Alright, so let's take a look at how to actually do this. So I'm just going to go back there, and we're going to bring up the Word document here. Okay, so for this Word document, what I would suggest is right off the bat, because this is a beautiful piece of work that you've put a lot of time into, I'd go ahead and save this. So go to File, and go to Save As. If you just say save, it'll just save, but you want to create a copy. So Save As, and I'm going to put it in the same folder, and I'm going to call it Moodle, Modern Physics Unit Test. I'll just call it Moodle Edition. It does not matter what you're calling it here. The main thing is that you're creating a copy of it. Now this, you can see it's changed the Moodle edition one. Now if I screw this one up, I have the backup of the original copy that I can go back on. Again, you can't just upload this Word document. We have to modify it. So I'm going to move myself over there so you can see how we're going to modify this. So first thing is I have all multiple choice, and true and false are the only ones that I'm going to try to import. Okay, so you have to take away all the fancy stuff. We want to make this as plain as possible. If you have headers, so double click on there, headers, you got to get rid of your headers, delete that. If you can scroll down, you have footers, get rid of those as well. And we'll click back, double click back on there. So now these are all the questions. Graphing questions are no good. So I'm going to go all the way down to my true and false. Matching's no good. True and false, I'm going to take that out. Okay, my true and false structure, like compared to multiple choice, looks a little different. Okay, and then the matching and all the rest of this stuff is not gonna, we're not gonna find a good shortcut. At least I haven't found one yet. So it boils down to multiple choice and true and false. These are the two things that I think it's worthwhile. Kind of. Even true and false, I feel like it's almost easier to build them one at a time, but I'll just show you the general structure. So definitely multiple choice, I think it's worthwhile to do this. Now, what you want to do is you want to take the numbers out. Okay. And again, I'm not going to show you a million of these because your time is money. So we'll just show you two here, and I'll just show you a couple true and false ones as well. So I'm just modifying this down. Take the numbers out of there because when you create a question bank and you want to say put them in random orders, you don't want it to say 1 like after the three questions down. The fourth one says 1 for special relativity, blah blah blah. And so get those numbers out of there, and these all have to be capitalized, and they all have to be set like this. I've tried them all in a row like this, and it doesn't work. So capital letters. You can have more. You could have E, F, G. That doesn't matter how many you have. You could have just A, B, and C. But you need to create this kind of format. So you can see that this does take a little bit of time, but hopefully You'll get good at it, and it won't be too big of a deal. Now what you have to put at the end of this is a new line and all in caps, answer with a colon, and then you have to tell us what actually answered this question is. So we assume that the speed of light in a vacuum is constant, so that's C. So the answer is C. And the one for this one, I'm just going to copy this, paste it there. The answer, special and general relativity, that was Einstein, so that's A. Okay, so those two questions are done. Didn't take me forever to do, but it definitely took me some time to do. I think it's slightly faster to do this and then import them than it would be to have to import each question. And it just really depends on how fast you get at doing the other one. Now this is where it's closer here. So instead of having this blank here, it doesn't make sense to have this blank. This is just a statement. Okay, and this one here doesn't make sense to have the blank either. So again, I'm not creating true and false questions from these true and false ones. I'm creating multiple choice ones. So I actually have to put in the A, and let's say true, and B is going to be false. And I still need to put the answer, and I have to decide if this is true or false. And in this one, this is true, so I'm going to go A. And then the nice thing about the true and false is I can copy that format, and I can paste it into that. So that's where the true and false becomes quick in a way. If you're doing this method, is you can copy and paste that format of the true and false answers, and then just change if this is false. I'm just going to make it false. Then you put in B. You could also, instead of true and false, this could be like yes and no. Again, it's multiple choice. So even though you're kind of forcing it to be a true-false kind of question, really it's still multiple choice. So you can see these all have the same kind of format. Now here's the trick. We're going to go to File, and we're going to go Save As. If you accidentally just click Save, now your Moodle edition, Word doc, whatever, is now being changed, which is not a big deal because you still have the original. If you didn't make the new copy, now your original is turned into this garbage. So make sure to click Save As. We'll go back to Moodle time, put in the same one, and instead of a Word document, we're actually going to save this as plain text. It's down here right underneath, probably a rich text format is plain text. So click on plain text. And here you can rename it if you want to, or keep it as the same name. I'll just keep it as the same. And again, you probably can get away with Windows default, but the recommended type is, oops, go down further, is Unicode UTF-8. So I see there's UTF-7 and some other Unicode ones, so Unicode UTF-8. Okay, and you don't need to worry about any of this. You can kind of see a preview of what it looks like, and you can press OK. Now here's something I would recommend, and that is, you can see here in my folders here, it's created a new text here. I would open up that text file and just double check to see that it looks good. Okay. This one. That's the one we just made. The other one was just a one I had made before. So you can see here, it looks good. Things look like they're going to be working out. Okay. And now let's go back to your Moodle. So now I'm going to use the Aitken format. So I'm going to select that. General, again, I want this to be in the pretest, so that's all good. And it will actually, the Aitken format will ignore these things, so you don't have to uncheck them, but if you want to uncheck them, you certainly can. And you don't have to worry about these things, although I'd keep that as a yes. And then that's either you choose the file, so if you go choose file, you're going to go choose file here, and you're going to go through all your documents until you find the one that you need, which would be this one, and open. And there it's attached. Or I could have taken this file and I could have dragged it and dropped it onto that other one. So that's totally up to you, however you want to do that. All right, so I'm going to upload this file. There's no errors. The file's right there. and now I simply import. So what happened here? It's saying it worked fine here, imported for the questions. You can take a look at them here and read them, just double check them. If I say continue, now you'll notice that four of those four questions came up here, and actually you can go and edit the questions. You can duplicate them, manage them, that kind of tag them. You can delete them, you can preview them. So I'm just going to preview this first one. And here it says it's a true and false, although really it's multiple choice, but the answers are true or false. And so I'm going to say true, and I'm going to submit and finish, and yep, it is true, so great. Good for me. And you can see I get a multiple choice one. I think this one here. Let's preview this one. No, of course. Here we go. And you can see what a multiple choice one looks like. It's the exact same as the quote-unquote true and false one. So you can see if you get it wrong, it's going to look like that and tell you the correct question. So good news, if you're doing everything on multiple choice and true and false, Moodle's pretty nice because you can go from a Word document to that. And I'm assuming that you could do that from a Google Drive, Google Doc, although I've never tried to do that to save as a text file. So if you can't, you can always copy your text from a Google Doc onto a Word and then save it if you can't save it from the Google Drive to a text format. So, but I assume you would be able to. I think Google's probably figured that out. All right, the next video I'm going to show you how to do matching and the other ones that are more complicated. And then, so this is turning into many series. But anyway, all right, see you next time.